Hello, beautiful, and welcome to Cosplay and Conversation. How did you live without it? My guest, Schac Attack. She's known for big collaborative bills, a contributor on Tested.com, and recently did a crowdsourced replica of Apollo 11 for the National Air and Space Museum. Your mission? Sit back, relax, and enjoy cosplay and conversation.
So, Jen, it is so good to see you again. How have you been?
I've been good. I know everyone always says I've been busy, but I have been busy. Been working on so many projects, but it's fantastic to see you. It's been too long since we caught up.
Yes, absolutely. So, first and foremost, what's in the name Schac Attack? Why did you pick Schac Attack?
It's kind of a simple, silly story. When I was in high school, everybody called each other kind of by their last name or like some version of a nickname on their last name. And my last name is Schachter. And so people just started calling me Schac Attack. Also, my mom is a school teacher and people were calling her Schac Attack. So we have this kind of shared nickname, but it's stuck. And my like logo online is this kind of like a picture of me like holding a drill and driver with like crazy hair that I made out of a fire logo.
Right.
And yeah, I feel like it's like Schac Attack, like coming at you with the drills and the power tools.
Awesome. Totally appropriate for what you do. So what draws you to create these cosplay outfits? What draws you to these characters? Why do you choose them?
I think for me, a lot of it has to do with wanting to wear that outfit. So it's partly it's about embodying the character themselves. But some of my characters are not so fantastic. Like I have a Marie Antoinette that I did, and she's like not the greatest character in history. But I just really wanted to make that outfit. I wanted to make that
Right.
wig. I wanted to wear this like big poofy dress. For Carmen, like this whole get up with the long trench coat and the hat, like it's usually something about fashion kind of for me, and I want to like learn a new skill, or I really am like I just really want to have this yellow jumpsuit, so I've got to do an April O'Neil costume.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's usually the inspiration for me.
Okay, cool. So, why do you do what you do?
It's hard to find the kind of like reason for me. It's so much a part of who I am to create things and to build stuff that like I can't even imagine doing anything else. It's like this is my way of communicating with the world by creating things and crafting and making. So yeah, I do it because I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
All right. So you are one of many folks on Tested. What's it like working with Adam Savage?
He is a fantastic mentor and just this like amazing force of energy. He works in the shop constantly. He goes in there on the weekends. Like he just has this creative force to give to everything. And yeah, I mean, I find like I'll spend a day with him or a couple days working on a project, and I'm like, how does this man have so much energy to keep doing this with such enthusiasm and such like I don't know, just excitement about everything that he does. So he's very energetic. He's very dedicated. The Tested folks are amazing. It's a really kind of motley crew of different interests and different skill sets. And some of my closest friends out here in the Bay Area now are colleagues that I met through Tested. So kind of like a little creative family, and we don't see each other all the time, but when we do get together for projects, we kind of just like nerd out and have a really good time. So
Awesome. Awesome. That is so like you have one of the best dream jobs ever, I will have to say. Absolutely. So how was it? How were you able to adjust when the US had to shut down for COVID?
Yeah, San Francisco was first. So we were like the first city to actually put the lockdown into effect. So as of March 15th, 2 years ago now, we were closed. So we were shooting a lot of stuff remotely. Like our team was kind of like, doing cell phone videos of like project check-ins. But I personally also kind of pivoted and did a little more stuff with my own business. So I started an Etsy shop online. I started making so I've been doing that. I made laser cut kits and I've been selling those on Etsy and like design files and stuff. So a lot of what I pivoted to is like stuff that I can manufacture from home and then sell to people virtually.
Okay. And those of you who are watching and listening, I will put a link to her Etsy shop in the description.
Thank
you.
you.
That is to come. Absolutely. So your plan of attack, when you are planning these characters, because the way you plan this out is absolute art. I mean, your thought process and all of that is art itself. I'm blown away every time you post one of your sketches. So how do you come up with this? How did you come up with this method? Because we are talking about the cosplay process and everyone's process is different. So walk us through your process.
Sure. Yeah. I think for cosplay, especially, it usually starts out for me with a lot of research. It's like a lot of detective work. So I'll look for any inspiration for that particular character that I can find, and a lot of characters have multiple representations. Like for Carmen, she's been in a video game, she's been in movies, TV. So I'm like, what are all the different ways people have represented her? And then what can I kind of distill from all of those representations into something that feels like me? Like maybe the coat wasn't made of leather, but I really wanted a leather trench coat. So that's what I'm going to do. So I kind of put together this I think designers call it like a mood board. I'll put together like a whole mood board of the different inspiration for that project. And then I start drawing and sketching. A lot of times I make like little prototypes, or like for the wig, I tested out a bunch of different like material samples. And I'm like, how does this foam take paint? How easy is it to shape? So I do a lot of like, material prototyping. And then I make a lot of stuff in cardboard. Like I made this huge version of this wig in cardboard that I actually fit to my head to test out. How does the scale feel? Like how easily can I move with this thing? And then I finally get to the build stage, and that's a very exploratory process as well. So it's a long pathway of just like gathering inspiration and testing and iterating. Yeah.
Okay. So can you talk about a time where you were creating something and it failed?
Yeah, I mean, when I was making this wig, I had never worked with EVA foam ever. Like somehow had not had that opportunity yet. And so I got all this EVA foam and I started building this thing. And well, first of all, it wasn't really looking the way I thought it was going to look. Like trying to figure out how to take a flat sheet material and make it look like hair was kind of a challenge. But I finally pushed through that. Like I just kept taking things off, and like I would pin it on and be like, it doesn't look right, and take it off before I glued it. But I went to go paint it. And if you've probably worked with foam, like, it's weird to paint on.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Yeah. It's like not a traditional material. So I didn't heat seal it the way that I should have. And so I spray painted it. I took this thing out to my alley at like 10 o'clock at night in the dark, and I'm spray painting it with Plasti Dip. And I was like, okay, this looks all right. And then I took it inside, and the pores of the foam were like pushing all these bubbles out. So the whole thing was covered in these tiny little bubbles. It looked like someone threw sand at it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I ruined this. Like I spent weeks on this thing, and I was like, I ruined it. So I was like texting my friends who like work with foam. I'm like, what do I do? Can I sand it? Can I fix it? And they're like, just let it chill, like hit it with a heat gun. It'll maybe draw the bubbles out some more. It'll like seal it. And I kind of just like disguised it as best I could. So if you look really close, the paint job is like, it's very, very not great.
It's textured.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, not a total fail, but it was one of those moments where I was like, I did not do this the right way. And yeah, I don't know.
Okay. So troubleshooting. It sounds like you just gave another, a great example of troubleshooting. But what is your advice as far as troubleshooting in general?
I like the phone a friend option a lot. You know, people that people that have experience with the thing that you're stuck on, or sometimes not. Sometimes a fresh perspective is really great. So I always reach out to the community or to a friend that knows more than I do to be like, I'm in this place, I'm stuck, I can't move forward. What do you think? I step away, definitely walk outside, take a little break, get some fresh air, come back, look at it with fresh eyes, and try to like think about how to adapt to what you have going on. So like if it's not working the way you thought, to try to work that into your design somehow, to to really just be like adaptive to whatever the challenge is that is coming up.
Great advice. Thank you for sharing that. Now, do you ever outsource?
You mean like have somebody else work on a piece of it?
Yes.
Totally. I did that a little bit with my Etsy stuff. Like the first round I did all the laser cutting myself, and the second round I was like, that was way too much work, I'm gonna hire somebody. So I hired a fabricator to laser cut the parts for me.
Okay.
I also work with friends who do electronics. I'm like very much a novice with electronic stuff, so I have reached out for help to people that do more coding and like programming of computer chips and microcontrollers, and they've helped with some of my assemblies to kind of like do the whole electronics piece.
Okay. Awesome. So what do you have what plans do you have for the future? Are you planning on doing another character? Let's start off with that.
Okay, yeah. Definitely more cosplay. I don't have anyone in particular at the moment that's like next on my list. Because of COVID last year, I didn't really get to take Marie out. Like I did the whole makeup and costume at home and took pictures, but like I didn't really get to go out dress up as her. So I'll probably do that again the next time I could go to like a big Halloween thing. Yeah, I want to try doing more stuff with foam. So I think it'd be cool to do some like foam armor. There's just so many different possibilities of what you can do with it. I mean, if you can make it look like that, I'm like, I could make it look like all kinds of things. So probably more foam stuff. And also
Didn't you recently get a book on that, on some type of foam armor book?
Yeah, actually, let's see if I can reach it. This book is by my friend. So this is my friend Bill Duran. He also works at Tested. He's such a sweet, fantastic, talented artist, but he has a whole series of these books on foam smithing. This is Foam Smith 2. And I learned a ton about how to work with foam from this book. So if you're into that, worth checking out and supporting Bill because he's fabulous.
Absolutely. And you too out there. It is on Amazon. I already checked it out.
Oh, cool.
Awesome. So, okay. So, are there any new skills that you want to learn in the future to help you with your cosplay or any of your builds?
Definitely sewing. I know a little bit. Like I learned from both my grandmothers, but I don't know a whole lot about like pattern making and like for sewing for garments, which is way more complicated. So I would love to learn more about garment sewing and patterning for costumes like this. I didn't sew this, I got this. So I would love to get to a point where like I could sew my own trench coat or I could sew my own gown. So that's definitely one. Getting better at working with foam. And then maybe not related to cosplay specifically, but I really want to learn more about metal, like welding and metal fabrication, but probably not going to be wearing anything that I'm welding. So.
Okay, awesome. So, how was the dress for Maria Antoinette made?
That was also one I found online. I was looking for something that could stand up to the weight of this. Like this is visually, it's enormous. So
how much does it weigh?
That's a great question. I haven't actually weighed it. It's too much. It's like it's so I can wear it for like 10, 15 minutes at a time. And then it's kind of like, oh, my neck. It's a big poofy dress with these like huge sleeves, like 80s poofy sleeves.
Right.
And it's all like silver lame. So it's like this sparkly kind of metallic material. It's beautiful, but it's very not, 18th century at all. It's 80s. But I thought it'd be a fun mashup to do 80s combined with like 18th century Versailles.
Yeah. Now, is the dress heavy as well? Because it looks heavy.
It's hot. It's like
Okay.
very thick material, which works
Uh-huh.
for October, but like, yeah, it's the whole outfit is a commitment.
Yes, I'm sure. So by the hair being so heavy, do you plan on redoing the hair so that it's more functional for you?
That's a great point. I hadn't thought about that. I would love to attempt something that is more functional.
Mhm.
Like cosplay stuff is not always super comfortable, but I
Right.
think the really good cosplayers that like go to a bunch of cons and stuff, they have it down to a science where they're like, I need to shave weight off here, I can put vents in here, like
Mhm.
that's what I could get better at.
Okay. Well, I mean, and also some of them have handlers with them.
Right. Right.
And we all can't have a handler all the time, but yes, definitely. Let's see. What is the latest book that you're reading other than the one by your friend?
Ooh, um, I'm reading one like totally fiction and one nonfiction. One that I'm
Mhm.
reading that's nonfiction is called The Power of Habit, and it's
Okay.
about like getting better habits. Like how do you kind of like rewire your brain chemistry? So that's kind of like in the self-help realm, not necessarily.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, I guess it could help with your art. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Because I'm definitely a last minute person and I'm trying not to be. But doing these shows and like trying to complement my guests is helping me to plan more and be more thoughtful of my time and what I have to get and when I have to get it and so forth and so on. So yeah, absolutely. Creating new habits is definitely something that everyone could use,
Yeah.
especially in this art form.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I know that's like such a rite of passage for cons is like building your cosplay like in the hotel, finishing it before you go into the onto the floor. Like I know that that's a
Yes.
thing that we all do.
Yes.
The other series I've been reading is the Witcher, the TV show that went like really big this past year. I've been reading the
Yes.
books in audiobook format to kind of like get more background on it because I'm such a fantasy nerd.
Uh-huh.
And so I've been reading the Witcher series so that goes along with the TV show.
Okay, so what brought you to the Witcher? What is it about it that, is fascinating you?
I really like the fantasy genre just in general. I'm a big fantasy nerd, but I
Uh,
like that this series sort of pokes fun at itself. It kind of it's like in the genre, but it's also making fun of the genre at the same time, which I really appreciate. The books less so. I think the TV series is more like reflecting on that genre. The books are fully in the series or in the genre.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I like that kind of like magical universe. Maybe there's some, supernatural, people have superpowers, things like that. And it's funny. I think it's like it's got a good amount of humor in it, which I enjoy.
Good, good. So, is there anything that you're looking forward towards 2022,
Ooh,
which is a few months away?
I know. Um, so many things. Obviously hoping that the world will be able to open up more in the future, when we can do it safely, to be
Mhm.
able to go to cons, to be able to, go to shows and see people, have gatherings, things like that. But personally, I'm excited about doing more stuff with my own business. I'm in my home shop here, which I've been slowly building out, like adding tools and putting up curtains and like making it really my space where I can build, since this is where I'm going to be stuck for a long time. So, yeah, I'm really just excited about like continuing to develop my business and my personal workshop space.
Okay, awesome. And do you see yourself ever maybe hosting your own show or series or books or anything like that?
Yeah, I have in mind I'd love to do a YouTube channel of like funky gen projects. Could be in the near future. I have so many ideas, but it's always about finding the time to really follow through with them. So that's in my long-term goals, maybe midterm goals. But we'll see. We'll see if the YouTube channel for Schac Attack comes to fruition.
Okay. I mean, there is already a Schac Attack on YouTube. I'm just
There
saying.
is.
I'm just saying. Can't
She's
wait
there.
to see more. Yes, you are there. Can't wait to see more content on there. And of course, bring people to your channel and supporting you and your art.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Well, Jen, it has been a pleasure catching up with you. Thank you so much for sharing your tips and tricks and future endeavors with us. If you want to check out more, just go ahead and check us out on YouTube, on Instagram, Facebook, all your social medias. And thanks for tuning in. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks for having
Bye.
me.
Yes.